What is up, denizens of the interwebs? It's Arza Chats here, coming at you with another video. This time we're going to be talking about Mary Sue Cope and Star Wars drama. Alright, to kick it all off, we're going to be talking about this Mary Sue article. The Star Wars fandom demands action from YouTube against racism and sexist fans. Now, there are a couple of points this article makes that are all very interesting, and before I get into the article, I first want to actually talk about what's going on. Now, I do not intend for this to be a drama-based channel. I do not care about drama. I do not wish to engage in drama. This has gone beyond drama. When Access Media is actively reporting on it and attacking freedom of speech, freedom of expression, and people's income, it goes from being a drama discussion to an actual pop culture discussion, and that is the only reason I am talking about it. Now, the whole focus of this is two weeks ago, a group called Rewriting Ripley put out a hit piece against channels like Geeks and Gamers, Ryan Kinnell, and Nerdrotic, as well as the people in charge of this hit campaign being Star Wars Explained and a few other YouTubers, attacking the number one biggest Star Wars YouTuber, Star Wars Explained. This attack was coordinated, and what they did is they pinned Team YouTube, telling them that they need to stop allowing for hate to be something that is spread and monetized on their platform, and demanding that YouTube demonetizes these channels. YouTube, after responding to them with a non-response, took about 2 days and responded that the videos that were being reported were not in violations of terms of services, which is obvious, because if they were, they wouldn't be on the platform. YouTube has been attacking these channels since the get-go, and only now that the culture is changing is YouTube giving them a break. Now, that all is the backstory of what's going on, and that leads me into this Mary Sue article, which is exactly why I'm covering it. The first really big point that this Mary Sue likes to make is that these channels, Hail Nerdrotic, Hail Ryan Kinnell, and Hail Geeks and Gamers, are all using hate as a way to make money. And I just have one question from anyone, anybody out there, Star Wars Explained, the Mary Sue, Rachel Leichman, anyone out there, where is the hate? I have been a watcher of Geeks and Gamers, Ryan Kinnell, and Nerdrotic for 2 years now. They are the reason I have this channel. Those people are heroes who inspire people to do better every day. And the paragon amongst them is Star Wars Theory. He is the inspiration for millions of people to boot up their camera, set up a microphone, and just talk stuff. Now, so all I want is, where is the hate? If someone can prove to me hatred, actual hatred, I'll delete my channel right now. You guys can have it. If there's really hatred, if I'm wrong about these people, prove it, and maybe I'll give you the time of day. But there is no hatred. Otherwise, it would be pinned here. The closest they can do is taking them out of context. And the reason why the Mary Sue doesn't bother to take them out of context isn't because the Mary Sue doesn't watch. They do. The Mary Sue, Rachel Leichman, Star Wars Explained, they all watch these creators as if it is their sole goal in life is to watch them. The reason why they don't have any of the videos is because there are none, and the very few times you can point to something that might be hate. And it is actively sarcasm that is generally approved by the people it is targeting. For proof of what I mean, that none of their actual claims is anything really targeting anyone, you can take a look at this nice little Twitter exchange that this Sir Snippy had on Twitter, where he went out and he posted several of Nerdrotic's inflammatory thumbnails. One of them being Juan Solo and the other one being the Blue Beetle, Let's Talk About It. The funny thing is, Mr. Snipey got completely bamboozled in his comments saying, I get a lot of Mexicans that are telling me they don't care and they find it funny. Interesting. Yeah, because most people are not like games journalists. Most people are not like academics. They are not perpetual victims. They have the ability to look at themselves and laugh at the satirical version of themselves. Unlike people like Rachel Leichman. Now, Rachel Leichman continues on to go on about how, this is my favorite part of the article, I don't think men like this actually enjoy Star Wars anyway. The funny thing about this claim that, oh well, they just don't like Star Wars is, what Star Wars? There's so much Star Wars out there that you really have to start specifying, because sure, there are people who love Episode 4 but despise the prequel trilogy. There are people who love all 6 movies, and there are only 6 movies, and acknowledge that the sequel trilogy is what it is, trash. There are people who love Mando Season 1 but hate Mando Season 2 and Season 3. Just because you do not like a part of the show does not make you any less of a fan of it. Just as you can be a fan of Superman and hate the Man of Steel movie. Just as you can be a fan of the Justice League and hate the Justice League movie, both versions. So, just because they don't like Disney Star Wars doesn't mean they have an issue with integral Star Wars. And the funniest part about this is she doesn't give any reason why these people don't actually like Star Wars. She could have at the very least used the BS argument that they are doing things in direct opposition to the morals and the messages of Star Wars, but the problem is they aren't. They are the Rebel Alliance. Now, the funniest part about this article is how she continues on and doesn't bother to name Star Wars Theory. The reason she doesn't name Star Wars Theory is if she did, she would be liable. Star Wars Theory has grounds to sue several of these channels, and any journalist who uses this kind of language is at risk of being sued. The last thing anyone at the Mary Sue would like to be. She goes and says, one notable grifter who makes his own bad lightsabers and sells them wrote, trying to deplatform anyone over not liking informed media is the most vile, disgusting act there is. The reality is that men like this make money over harassing people. That's what it is. Once again, I would like to ask, where is the harassment? In fact, you can claim this harassment, but as someone who watches these channels, because we all know you do, Rachel, you should be asking yourself, why haven't I heard them harass anyone? Why is it that in every single video they explicitly say, do not harass this person? I should probably say that, as in case this gets some views, let me be honest. Do not harass people. Harassing people is lame. It is for losers. People who harass people should go outside, touch grass, go to the gym, read a book, do literally anything else. Hell, instead of harassing someone, how about you make an educational video so that you can explain why they're wrong instead of just harassing them because you don't like them? Like what Nerdrotic, Geeks and Gamers, Ryan Kindle does. They go in and they explain exactly what is wrong with the stuff that is being put out. The way that they talk about how they go and talk about Kelly Marie Tran's character being absolutely horrible in the sequel trilogy, but Geeks and Gamers is going on and saying how much he loves Kelly Marie Tran as a person, and how she seems like the nicest person out there. And I'm going to be honest, the very little I've seen of her, she does seem nice. And you know what? I watched the sequel trilogy before I got involved in these spaces, before I started watching these people, and let me tell you, I sought them out because I agreed. The characters in the sequel trilogy were bad. I don't think they're bad because of these people. And that is exactly what these guys cannot comprehend about the Acolyte. People are not saying the Acolyte is bad because Star Wars Theory is grifting and saying it is. People are seeking out Star Wars Theory because they think the Acolyte is bad, and he agrees with them. He affirms their beliefs and makes them realize that they are not crazy. So maybe that's the real reason all of you oppose them, is not because you don't like what they're saying, but because they are giving validity to the opposition of your point. And of course, claiming that he's a grifter, how is he grifting? He started his channel by making fan stories and by doing fan theories. What is there for him to do that with now? There is no audience for it, and even if there was an audience for it, there is no content that dictates that kind of thing. Instead, Star Wars Theory is now making his own stories, and yes, he's selling his own lightsabers because Disney's Black Series lightsabers are trash. I have bought many lightsabers. I love my lightsabers. They're just too spacious, which is why they're not in my room right now. I love lightsabers. I love collecting them. I love sword fighting. But guess what? The Black Label ones aren't nearly as good as the $80 ones you can get from third-party sites, Black Wolf Sabers, and Crimson Dawn. I haven't gotten a Saber Theory yet. I would love to get a Saber Theory. And you know what? If I do, I'm willing to bet they too be better than a Black Series lightsaber. Now, she continues down here to say that I support Alex and Molly 100%. To be clear, that is Star Wars Explained, the channel that led the harassment campaign. Now, Molly has been going on and saying that she has nothing to do with the harassment campaign. She merely shared the image. The funny thing about this, that everyone else is pointing out, especially Nerdrotic, is that Star Wars Explained is the kind of channel that went after Gina Carano when she posted that one infamous picture. So how is it that she was responsible for posting a picture, but Molly and Star Wars Explained aren't responsible for posting a picture at the same time? It doesn't make sense because these people are the real grifters. And then this great author continues on with, at the end of the day, the fan bases of people like Kindle, Nerdrotic, and Geeks and Gamers, and even Star Wars Theory all attack anyone who they criticize on their channel. Sure, they might not outright direct their fans to do it, but it's the obvious result of the hateful vitriol and the type of people it appeals to. So let me ask you, how is this not hatred, vitriol? How is this article, which is directly inflammatory, directly insulting, and not attacking their content, but attacking their character, not hateful vitriol? I would love to know. I would love to know how you can justify this compared to everything else. And just as I said before, do not go out and attack anyone. Do not go out and harass anyone. I do not want people going out and saying Star Wars Explained is creepy. Star Wars Explained is rude. It is clear that Alex from Star Wars Explained clearly likes to watch his wife get Sarlacc pitted. Don't go out and say any of that. That is rude. That is harassment, and I do not support harassment. Now, to really go on and show all the cope and craziness in this whole situation requires and going on and taking a look at the Twitters of people like Star Wars Explained and Master of the TDS. Now, these posts from the Master of the TDS shows a lot of details, especially how Star Wars Theory is being forced to reply to images of Molly Damon. Molly Damon being the person from Star Wars Explained, as I said before. The reason why he's responding to pictures is she is tweeting about Star Wars Explained while having Star Wars Explained blocked. Consequently, Star Wars Explained has not blocked Molly or Alex Damon or Star Wars Explains, and allowing for them to be able to see his messages and respond with impunity, whereas he is having to do back-channel ways of going about and circumventing the blocks that these people are unfairly putting on. Honestly, if you hide your replies, hide your tweets, or block someone, I think anything you say about them, you should have to apologize for. You should not be allowed to use the block system to harass people without their knowledge. Say what you will about the kind of language that Ryan Kittle, Geeks and Gamers, Nerdrotic, and Star Wars Theory have been using. Not that there's anything wrong with their language, but they are doing it out in the open. They are doing what is, the expression, give yourself enough rope to hang yourself. That's what they're doing. If they are wrong, they can be crucified on their lies. But they are not doing anything wrong. They are not lying. Therefore, there's nothing wrong with what they're saying, and that is why they are allowed to continue to speak. That is why they haven't silenced their accounts, blocked their accounts, or silenced their haters. Because of the fact that none of it is wrong. If it was, their accounts would be taken down, their accounts would be striked. Your harassment campaign would have worked. But it didn't, because nothing you say is true. Now, the funniest part about all the Star Wars Explained stuff is really in the video that Star Wars Explained put out, and it's really the crux of the issue. Now, I'm not going to go and put it in the video because honestly, I do not know the best way to handle putting in audio so that other audio sources do not risk interfering and in such a way that it would count as transformative language. As I get better at this YouTube thing, I will begin to do that. So I will pin his video in my comments, and I would encourage you to all go and watch Star Wars Theory's video on this, and I encourage you all to follow Star Wars Theory. I haven't met him. I don't know anyone in this sphere. I would love to get to know him, and he seems like the nicest guy out there. Everyone says he's the nicest guy. Who's to know if they're telling the truth? So what Star Wars Theory really pointed out, and is the crux of the issue, is how people like Star Wars Explains have all gone in, and they've been doing nothing but complaining about the fact that Star Wars Theory makes more money than them. A lot of it is talking about how it's ridiculous that Star Wars Theory has so many followers, has blown up so fast, which is truly impressive how fast he's blown up, and how he makes in so much money. Not that Star Wars Theory has ever once talked about money in any video I've seen. I don't watch a lot of Star Wars Explained, admittedly. I mostly watch him on Tuesday Night Main Event and whenever he shows up on Nerdrotic's Friday Night Tights. But I have seen a few of his videos. I'm just not so interested in the Star Wars lore videos that he usually does. Now, if your problem with Star Wars Theory is just that he makes more money with you, I have the perfect solution. Do better. You can go out and you can do what I'm doing if you have an issue with it. He has a voice, you do not have a voice. I want a voice, so instead of complaining about Star Wars Theory and grifting like some people are grifting off of Star Wars Theory, I'm putting myself out there. I am recording videos and I am giving my honest thoughts. You could do that. You could give your honest thoughts. Sure, you might lose out on access media that shilling for Star Wars gives you. Sorry, no more free trips to Disney World, no more early access. But you know what? You will have the attention of the audience because the audience craves authenticity. That is why Star Wars Explained and other shill accounts like that are hemorrhaging subscribers, whereas the grifters, whereas the hateful vitriol is picking up the attention of the average audience. The average audience who Star Wars desperately needs. And I would suggest that Star Wars really heavily starts appealing. So this really gets into the crux of my account as well. I am here because I want to have a voice, and I am inspired by these grifters, these hateful vitriol grifters like Geeks and Gamers, Nerdrotic, Star Wars Theory, and everyone else. They are an inspiration to me, and let's be honest, they are an inspiration to the world and to every other creator on YouTube and every future creator. They are the rebels, they are the heroes, they are the next generation. There is no modern audience, and they will bring us the quality content that we so desperately crave. So, thanks for coming along. Thanks for listening to me rant. I'm sorry this isn't a normal news-based video, even though it does talk about the news. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and you have a wonderful day.